Hey, good morning. Good morning. It's Saturday. It's the weekend. We are live on Illegal Formation right here on the Inside Edge Network. I am Chad Bryan. With me, as always, is my man TK Dandridge. TK, what's going on, man? How's your weekend going?
It's starting out pretty well. Trying to enjoy the last bit of this good weather that we got before we get some snow again tomorrow and Monday. So
Yeah, we had a little bit
just
of fall
making
spring, didn't we? We got into the 60s there.
yeah,
Saw a 61. I think a 60. I think it got up to 62 one day.
yeah,
Maybe.
that was nice,
Yeah,
very
back
nice.
home, I know my dad was. They were flirting with 70 degrees. It almost got to
Mhm.
70. And then I think 2 nights ago they had some tornadoes down by Dayton, out in Indiana. So you really never
Oh
know.
man,
You don't know what the weather. February in Northeast Ohio and this is just the Midwest in general. It's a crapshoot. You don't know what you're gonna get. I think we're supposed to get like maybe 6 inches of snow. I lived in the Arctic Circle, so it's gonna be
yeah.
it's gonna be it's gonna be crazy. Expect the oh well, I'll send you the front porch camera videos, man. That's always seems to be a little extra blizzardy where I live, but whatever, that's fine. We can deal with it. Maybe we got a pretty good show for you guys. Today we're going to talk some U.S. women's hockey gold. We'll talk a little bit of Harden-era Cavs, and we're going to do some Browns comings and goings. The Browns are set to pretty much wholesale changes across the board on the coaching staff, probably on the offensive line. Um, Historical,
A lot going
to
on.
say the least with the offensive line. It's been a while since anybody's been through what the Browns may be going through in this offseason. So we'll get to that as well later. But I mean, we got to start with the main story. Hillary Knight ties this game with Canada at one, right? With what 2:04 remaining. I was doing logistics, man. I was picking my kids up from school and I'm trying to watch it on my phone, and I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
one more, just one more, a couple. Okay, one more minute. I have one more minute. And I finally shut it off, and I'm like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta get my son. He can't like spend the night in school, right? So I walk in, I come back out, and the 5 or 10 minutes or so that I'm inside, it happened. It was 1-1, and I saw it was going to overtime. I'm like, all right, well, if I can get home in time, I can throw it on. TK, I got home, put the game on, and maybe I don't know, maybe 5 minutes of actually watching hockey. Megan Keller goes right between Canada's goalies. I believe her name's Amber Debian, went right between her legs for the game winner. Sudden death overtime to win the gold. Pretty amazing. I mean, pretty good stick work, honestly. I'm watching. I listen, man, anything that happens on ice in these Winter Olympics, I'm amazed by because I can't do any of it. So just to watch the way she handled the puck, man, and just went straight to the net. First of all, to win the gold was impressive, but like I said, man, the stick work. Did you see it? Were you able to watch it live? Did you see it live?
Unfortunately, I could not watch it live. So
Okay,
that's
okay.
okay. Okay.
But you saw it, man.
But
Look
you
at
saw it, man.
the reaction. I mean, were you expecting them to take down Canada? I mean, I don't know. They've been so dominant, right? They came into the 6-0, outscoring their opponents 31-1. Uh, it almost felt like it was inevitable they'd win, but I mean, Canada's a hockey factory, right?
Right, absolutely. Canada is the hockey sanction of the universe, as far as I'm concerned. Unlimited amount of talent that has been born and bred in Canada. So I definitely thought that was going to be a tough matchup. Yeah, we saw them play extremely well throughout this Olympics. They were 6-0 going into this game. I think the most competitive game that they did play was against Czechoslovakia, and they beat them 5-1. So,
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people were probably, thinking that this was going to be another exhibition of that. Canada has always given us problems. They have always put heat on us, in the Olympics. So I wasn't expecting anything different. And of course, with a 2-1 overtime game, we got exactly what I expected. And I'm sure a few other people would agree with me as well.
Oh, lost you for a second there, TK.
All right, we good now?
Yeah, you said. I'm sorry. You said you said with a 2-1 game, we got exactly, and I lost you for a moment, just so you know.
Yeah, with a 2-1 game in overtime, we got exactly what I thought was going to happen, and I'm sure a few other people would agree with me as well.
Yeah, it was a great game. Like I said, I caught most of it. I did Like I said, by the time I got back out to my car, I could see that it had happened. I knew it was going to overtime. Exciting. A lot of people. I didn't know there was so much. I don't know if hate's the right word, but it seems like the U.S. Canada, obviously it's a rivalry. I get that in hockey. It's going to be a rivalry. We're right here. We're neighbors. Right next door to each other. Obviously, they're our upstairs neighbor living in the apartment upstairs. But yeah, I don't know. I've seen some stuff online. I'm surprised there's not a little bit more. You'd think there'd be some camaraderie, right? Like we're all in North America. We're on the same continent. We're on the same side of the earth. Like whatever. I saw some stuff talking, I guess, online between these fans of these two countries as far as hockey goes. That's a little
yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. I guess you got to talk some stuff. That's what sports is all about, right? Talking some stuff. Well, anyway, like I said, the women win gold. Just an amazing game, fun game to watch. Hope the men's gold game that's tomorrow, right?
Yes.
What time is that? A 3:00 start? What time does that start? Do you know?
Oh God.
I want to say it was 3:10. Let's look it up.
3 or 3:30. I'm sure.
Okay. Let me see if I can get a time on that just before we get out of here. I thought it was around that. Let's see. We'll have to get that for you after the break. I don't feel like doing too much research, but is it at 8:10 a.m.?
Oh my God, we were so wrong.
It's on at 8:10. Yeah, 8:10 a.m. Why did I think it was 3:00? It's 8:10 a.m. on Sunday. So got to set the alarm for that one. Got to wake up a little bit early, and by the time we get to you on the Sunday sports show, they should be pretty well into that one. We'll see if we can get a score update. Can't show you any game action. Found that out the hard way the other night. They didn't like that when we showed you the game-winning goal, the game-tying goal, and didn't like either one. So sorry, anyway, so you can imagine what the goal must have looked like. If you want to know, you'll have to go to social media and find it yourself and watch it. Unfortunately, like I said, I'm not allowed to show it to you. So there is that. But congratulations to the U.S. women's hockey team, gold medal winners, 2-1, sudden death overtime win over Canada. Amazing game. A lot of fun to watch. I'm glad I got to see the game winner. I'm glad my kids got to see it. They've been, for some reason, resisting watching the Olympics. Every once in a while, my daughter wants to watch figure skating, but otherwise, it's like they grumble. I'm like, this happens every 4 years, right? I've been loving watching all the TK. I'll talk to you. I was talking to Eli the other night on primetime. I watched an event. I guess it's new to the Olympics this year, so it's the Olympics new to me. I had never even heard of it. It's called ski mountaineering. Okay, they called it skimo for short. Which whatever, sure. But they basically they change their skis. They sprint uphill. Okay, snow, nice. And then they have to change their skis to something else. Then they go up some stairs, and then they pull something off the bottom of their skis, and then basically it's like a slalom downhill. The whole event was over in about, I don't know, I want to say maybe 5, 7, maybe 8 minutes. Maybe not even that long. And I heard one of the announcers say that by the time they get up to the top of the hill to do the downhill slalom, that apparently the competitors are so exhausted at that point that a lot of them don't even remember the downhill portion of it. That's crazy to me because like it is on your couch eating Doritos. It looks easy, right? It's just that I think you really get like the full scope of how steep that hill is that they're running up, or just how physically demanding that really is. But yeah, I thought it was kind of a cool event to watch. Again, I had never heard of it. I'm not even sure what this event's called, but I'm blanking on it. But I was watching. It was like a relay. They ski a little while, then they stop and shoot some targets, then they ski again, whatever. And the French women's team was so far ahead. Their anchor went. She hit all her as long as she hit all of her targets. They said she basically could do anything she wanted for the rest of the race, and France would still win gold. And I thought that was hilarious. Like, well, does she even have to finish? Like, how does this work? Like, how far ahead are they? Like, they just have the infinite time. Like, nobody can ever beat them. I thought that was weird. But she was living it up, man. She was skating around, like waving to people on the side and just, having fun, man. I thought that was pretty funny. No competition even left at that point. She hit all 10 targets or whatever it was, and that was it. They won gold, so she was having fun. But that's a pretty cool thing. What without the skiing part, I feel like that might be something I'm decent at as far as Winter Olympics goes, right? But it seems like the skiing part's probably pretty important in that. So, TK, I still haven't found anything I can do in the Winter Olympics. I'm maybe curling, maybe.
Curling would probably be the only thing I would probably be able to do as well.
Yeah,
I can't skate to save my life. I definitely can't snowboard.
No.
And I'm anemic, so I don't know how that's gonna work.
Yeah, man, you probably want to stay away from that, to be honest. I think I've never tried snowboarding, but I think I don't want to say easier. Easier is the wrong word, but I think it looks less difficult than ice skating, or even skiing for that matter. It's like I feel like the more contact I have with snow and ice on whatever I'm standing on, the better, to be honest with you. So I might be able to stay upright on a snowboard for a little bit, but as soon as you get me going down the first hill where there's a turn, forget about it. I'm falling, I'm hitting my head. You're probably gonna have to airlift me out of there. I won't be able to, just for the fact that I won't even be able to stand up anymore. You just have to airlift me out because I won't be able to physically get up anymore. So that's where I am in my athletic career. Maybe we should move on from the Winter Olympics because it's just making me feel bad now, TK. Let's talk about the Cavs. You want to talk? Let's talk some basketball. You want to talk some James Harden-era Cavs?
Let's do it.
Let's do it because listen, the Cavs are 5-0 since they traded for Harden. Okay, and I know some of the competition hasn't been there. I mean, it's the Nets, the whatever. I get it. There's some teams in flux right now. The Kings. They played the Kings a couple weeks ago, but they did beat the Nuggets last week before the All-Star break. They beat the Nuggets. Nuggets are a pretty good team. You got Nikola Jokic over there, who I'm still TK. I swear I'm still waiting for Jokic to come out in just like socks and sandals and play a game. Like it's going to happen before the end of his career. I have never seen that level of apathy translate into that much production. It looks like he just doesn't care when he's on the floor. But every night, it's like you can get 35, 20, and 14 out of him like it's nothing. I've never – it's like you ever play in like a rec league and you show up and there's like the one guy that he doesn't even look like an athlete. And somehow he's like the most dominant guy on the team. And you're like, what am I doing wrong? That's Jokic. Like Jokic looks like he just doesn't care about basketball. Maybe he doesn't.
I don't think he does, to be honest. Well, that may be a stretch to say because I don't know somebody that doesn't care about something that lets them stay stuck in something for a decade plus. Yeah. And, especially, after he was selected during a Taco Bell commercial for an item that is no longer on the menu. But, other than that, it's just, I just think basketball for him might not be the main priority, but that is the thing that he does so well. Like there are so many things that he does at an elite level. Even his defense has gotten a little bit better. That was the main gripe for him, these past few years is that, he's not necessarily the greatest defender. Although he does play the passing lanes very well. This is a guy that averages well over a steal a game. So maybe we were being a little bit too hard on him, but as a 6'11" big, we kind of expect more on the defensive end, but he more makes up for that offensively.
He does. I mean, you talk about basketball IQ guys. I mean, he's one of them, right? Like, and I think some part of him would rather just be at home with his horses, right? It just seems like that's where his passion is, that's where his heart is, and that's perfectly fine. I don't mean to say that like it doesn't bother me at all that he looks like he doesn't necessarily care about basketball. He still gets the job done. It's crazy that you think like sometimes you're forced into a job because it's what you do, it's what you're best at, so it's the best way to make money. It's weird to think of, you grow up and the dream is to be a professional athlete, right? If you ever played sports when you're younger, you want to play in the NFL, you want to play in Major League Baseball, you want to play in the NBA, whatever, you want to play in the NHL. It's weird to think of Jokic being like, well, I'd rather do this other thing, but I'm so good at this kid's game. I guess I'll go make millions of dollars doing it.
Exactly.
What a struggle. It's funny. It's whatever. It's all about mindset. But I like Jokic. I think he's kind of a different type. So that's appealing to me. But that's enough Nuggets talk. We don't have to talk about the Nuggets. They sound delicious right now. Man, it always comes back to food, TK. I did it again. That's my fault. Let's talk Cavs. We can't the Cavaliers. That's not food. We can't get that mixed up. We're fine. Let's go to James Harden. Why why are the Cavs so good with James Harden? First of all, they're 5-0, and it's not necessarily. Again, I know the competition is what it is. We're gonna, I'll acknowledge that. But the Cavs have looked different, right? It's the product. You talk about the eye test, okay? And it's not their fault they're playing bad teams. They're taking care of business. They're winning. They're winning the games they're supposed to win. Finally, after a rough month and a half, or more start to a season that they had. But what makes them so good with James Harden versus Darius Garland? Is it just health and availability, or is it something in Harden's game?
Well, I definitely think the big one is going to be health. Darius Garland has been bothered by that toe for the past couple of seasons. Granted, he still is doing the best that he absolutely can, averaging 18 a game on 45% shooting before having to sit out again, obviously before the James Harden trade. And so, I honestly think, the big one would be health and availability. Secondly, I honestly think James Harden is an overall better playmaker than Darius Garland. You remember all those years with the Houston Rockets where he hovered around 33 points per game and still averaged about 10, 11 assists a game as well. So that is just a guy that is just a magician with the rock in his hands and can basically do anything in the world that he wants to do. Obviously, having a backcourt companion like Donovan Mitchell, I definitely would say that other than Russell Westbrook, that is the best. Other than Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul, my apologies, that is the best backcourt mate that he has ever had in his career. I would say Kyrie Irving, but they only played 16 games together. This is the NBA, not the NFL, so that doesn't count. So, I definitely just think, you have a better situation with James Harden running the offense, especially with guys like, Jalen Tyson. He's finding himself in the rotation. He's had a very good year this year. You're obviously going to be getting guys back. Max Drew should be back soon, probably more closer to the playoffs. We could see him in March. We could see him in as early as next month, but I definitely think the goal returns to, get him ready for April basketball and beyond. Obviously, the other acquisitions, we love Dennis Schroeder, Keon Ellis, who I am extremely excited about. He's going to have some trouble, trying to find a consistent role in that location. We got kind of a loaded backcourt. Like I was discussing with you earlier, we got guys like Sam Merrill logging in minutes at forward as a 6'4" guard with minimal defense. So, it's going to be tough for him to carve out a consistent role, but I definitely think he has the talent and the work ethic to do so. It's still very early within the stages of the trade, so I am not at all worried about the slow start that he's had. As a member of the Cavaliers, I definitely think he will find his groove eventually. The defense is always going to be there. He's always going to lock down the perimeters and look good out there as far as that's concerned. Yeah. The shot's going to fall eventually. Just got to give it a little bit of time.
Yeah. I think the defense is an important thing in the playoffs. I was going to ask you, in regards to Keon Ellis and some other guys too. I just what are the playoff rotation going to look like? Who do you expect? Are they going to go 10 guys? Are they going to go 8, 9 guys? I know sometimes in the past the bench has been limited, and you go, man, if we had a little bit more production off the bench, and now they've got some pieces there. But again, you've got Sam Merrill playing guard, or playing forward rather at 6'4". It feels like maybe you're a guy short of exactly where they would want to be going into the playoffs. But they right now they're making it work. It's still regular season. Basketball looks completely different in the NBA in the playoffs than it does in the regular season. But they're making it work. And we talked about how good they look. Harden is a great passer. He's always going to find. It seems like the open guy. With his playmaking ability, attracts a lot more attention than I thought he would still be attracting at this age. And by the way, I'm going to say my first initial reaction to this trade, I was completely wrong. I clearly on record, I thought if this was the only trade they made, unless they were going to make another trade after, I didn't love it. I didn't think it was quite enough. But man, all of a sudden they look like maybe possibly the favorites in the East, and I was wrong. I was dead wrong, and that's okay. That happens. But I guess two things. it seems like Jared Allen has gotten better with Harden here. I don't know if that's just a little bit more space to create, a little bit more room, a little bit less attention defenses, or if that's Harden's passing ability and his ability just to find the open guy and create that open space. I suppose it's both. I mean, I guess that sounds like the same answer. But let's get back to my original question. What does the playoff rotation look like? Do they go 8, 9, 10 guys deep? I mean, what do you expect Cavs for playoff time? It's hard to say with the new roster, but it's not that new. We've got a lot of the same pieces here. It's just with Schroeder, Ellis, and Harden now. What does that look like, you think?
To be quite honest, I don't think this rotation for the playoffs is going to be anything under 10 players. I definitely think they can go 12. You think with the starting lineup of James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Tyson, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen, I think you think of that second unit. How's that second unit going to look? Well, you have Dennis Schroeder. You also have Keon Ellis. Sammy Merrill is still going to log pretty significant minutes. You may have to move Jalen Tyson down to that power forward position if you were to put him in the second unit. You could probably still put him at the 3 as well. Thomas Bryant is going to be slated to get a decent amount of minutes at center as a backup center behind Jared Allen. And then you still got to think, well, we got Craig Porter Jr., we have Tyrese Proctor, we have Naquan Tomlin, who has shown his worth in stretches throughout the season. So, yeah, I definitely think there's a myriad of ways that this team can go. Now, I do understand having a 12 to 13-man rotation in the playoffs can be difficult to manage. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you can never have enough available warm bodies on the sideline, especially for, a grueling playoff series, which I am expecting, especially with being at that 4th spot. Toronto is right behind us at 5, and I definitely think that is going to be a whirlwind of a series. I definitely think Toronto has a solid team. Love what Brandon Ingram has been able to do up there as their leading scorer. Scotty Barnes is having another all-star caliber season. He did make the all-star team, played well in that game as well. So, yeah, there's a lot to think about as far as the rotation, but I do think it can go deep, especially to start off with. So, yeah, anywhere between 10 to 13 or 10 to 12 guys would be my bet for what this playoff rotation is going to look like.
Yeah, I think, like you said, fresh legs are always going to be a good thing, especially when, the knock on the Cavs has and it's still kind of there. I think it's still the perception around the league that you can bully the Cavs a little bit. You can push them around and you can out-tough them, and you can beat them in a series that way. And I think they're trying to do everything they can to dispel that notion, but we'll just have to see it. I mean, we'll have to see them come out and be physically tougher than they were, 2 years ago against the Knicks, last year against the Pacers, whatever. In both of those series, I thought they were physically, you could say, manhandled, right? I mean, they got pushed around, man. They got bullied a little bit. And I think, like I said, I think that's still the perception around the league. You've got to get over that hump. And I think, bringing a guy like Keon Ellis in, I think is good. Physical defender. I think he's tough. Jalen Tyson seems to have some mental toughness. James Harden, different mindset. Maybe that helps. I don't know. I mean, with Jared Allen playing a little bit more freely, it looks like maybe that gives him a new lease on life. Maybe he can. I don't know. They're just going to have to be tougher underneath. I think, like you said, crowded backcourt. I don't know what the front court's going to do as far as getting physical stops in the playoffs, right? You see guys play a different level of defense in the NBA playoffs. Can the Cavs physically handle that? Can they make that work over a 7-game series against, like you said, the Raptors or eventually the Pistons, a team that the Raptors came out of nowhere too. Well, they won 30 games last year, didn't they? I mean, they were 30 and 52, I think, last year. But you saw some of the improvements in the offseason. I think you could look at the Raptors and reasonably say this is a better basketball team. But that's not really the point. I mean, are the Cavs tough enough right now physically to get past that second round and into the Eastern Conference Finals at least at this point? I mean, dare I say the NBA Finals, but let's take one step at a time. Are they tough enough to get to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Well, this is tough to say. I'm not necessarily sure um if the toughness is the biggest concern for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand it has been an issue in the past. We've had some ugly series.
Mhm.
Obviously, New York in 2021 still scars most of us Cavs fans. Definitely still scars me. But at the same time, I do think that there's a possibility that we could be tough enough. At the same time, you got to understand the NBA, much like any other league in the world, things do happen. So I'm really not sure that we love the rotation that we have. We do enjoy our roster,
Mhm.
but are we really that certain that this is going to be the team that is going to break through? You got a number of guys that do have deep playoff experience, but a majority of those guys can't get past that second round barrier or haven't been able to. So that's going to be a new challenge in itself. So I don't want to go ahead and you know completely ordain them, you know, NBA finals or conference finals ready. I also don't want to, rain on their parade, as far as, saying, oh, you guys aren't tough enough, you guys aren't physical, you guys don't do this or that.
Right.
I'm not really one of those guys that likes to, poke at people's toughness and things like that. But
Yeah.
I just think that it's still, granted, we're deep into the season now, it's almost playoff time. I'm still not really certain if this is the group that breaks through. It could be interesting. I do see us, possibly making a um, very interesting, very awe-inspiring push when it comes to the second round, because as you know, that is our Achilles heel. But I do think the East for the most part is definitely very wide open,
Yeah.
and I definitely think we have every opportunity in the world to win it. But right now I'm still a little unsure.
I think that's fair. I mean, you know, well, all the talk of Adam Silver, I was just thinking about, I'm looking at the standings here. The Pistons 41-13, just kind of running away with the East right now. But the Cavs are right there. They've overtaken the Knicks for that 3 spot. They're a half a game up on the Knicks, a game behind the Celtics. 36-21. The Celtics are 36-19. Man, the Cavs have won 7 in a row, 9 of their last 10. I mean, they're really playing very, very well. So I struggled to go back. I couldn't find you. Scroll around my computer, couldn't find it. That was lost, man. But we talked to well, we didn't really get a chance to talk about it, but Adam Silver mentioned some. They're really not into the load management thing in the NBA. Adam Silver's not having it right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what you have to do as the Cavs right now, but you've got to. The last 2 years going into the playoffs, it seems like Donovan Mitchell has had something going on lower body, whether it's ankle, calf, whatever. He's had some issues. So not allowed to load manage in the NBA anymore. What do you do if you're the Cavs to keep him healthy? Do you try to keep his minutes down headed into the playoffs? I mean, you're pretty much you can't. I mean, they're playing well enough now that they can cruise a little bit, but I'm sure they'd like to get to that 3 or 2 spot, and solidify that in the East. But it's like, what do you do? Do you spend all your energy going for the 2 spot, or like I said, I don't know. I mean, do you back off on Donovan Mitchell's minutes, and what do you do to keep him fresh and not injured? More important.
Well, like I alluded to, this backcourt is very much cluttered right now. I don't really see any real reason to overuse him, other than the fact that he's Donovan Mitchell. But at the same time, it's just like we have multiple guards that can play his
Yeah.
position. Obviously, getting Keon Ellis, Sammy Merrill has been a member of the Cavaliers for a while. You're going to get Max Strus back either next month or in April.
Yeah.
Jalen Tyson can play a little bit of guard, at 6'6", 6'7". he is very useful at three positions. Obviously, small forward being his natural position, and he also has experience as a shooting guard and a power forward as well. So, yeah, there are multiple ways that you could go to keep Donovan Mitchell fresh. You still have to think that 45 is going to average at the very least about 33 minutes a game when it comes to this postseason, unless we're just blowing cats out like that, which I really don't expect. You might get one or two early on, maybe, but I'm really not expecting us to run roughshod. Not like how we did the Miami Heat last year. That was almost laughable. I didn't know what was going on at all. But yeah, I just think there are a multitude of ways that you can go. There's no reason for any player to be burnt out unless we suffer yet another significant injury.
Yeah,
I do see in the front court where that might be a problem. Granted, Naquan Tomlin has made strides this year, and he looks like a very solid young player.
yeah.
Thomas Bryan is a veteran big as well. Hasn't really played that much, but when he does get on the court, very good shooter. I may be late to the party, but when did he add a 3-pointer to his game? I mean, my goodness, I did not know he could shoot like that. I really did. I thought he was just, a banger. Get him on a low block, have him fight down there for rebounds, do all the dirty work. That's what he came into the NBA as. But to be able to space the floor out from 16 feet onward makes Thomas Bryant a very valuable piece for this team going into April basketball and beyond. So, I mean, yeah, I just really don't see the reason to burn any of these guys out unless the games are just that tight and they just need to be out there. But other than that, I think this rotation should be used to its absolute fullest.
All right. Well, hey, they've got the pieces to do it. Like you said, they've got some depth in the backcourt. We're going to find out more about their toughness going forward. I mean, again, I'm not trying. It's just the perception around the league right now, and it's hard for me to sit here and call someone out as tough or not tough. I've never played in the NBA. I don't know what it takes. I mean, I'll be honest with you. What am I going to say, right? My credibility on that subject is next to none. I mean, I can talk about the NBA. I can talk about basketball. Talk about physical toughness because I've never been out there trying to, go up against a 6'8", 240-pound guy in the low post. It doesn't sound like much fun. So we'll see. I mean, we hope the Cavs come out like roses, right? By the time the end of June's here, it'd be great to see another championship. But if you want to come up smelling like roses, hey, good news. I got a place you can go. You can visit our sponsor at allyrosefragrances.com. That's Alley Rose Fragrances. And remember at checkout to use our code Inside Edge 20, capital I, capital E. It's all one word, Inside Edge 20. You see it right there on your screen. You're going to get 20% off your order, off your entire order. And they've got candles, they've got body mists. We burnt one of the candles that we purchased from Alley Rose Fragrances was Autumn Day. My wife lit it up in her office yesterday doing some work, and the house smelled amazing. DK, it smelled so clean and so good.
I bet, man.
Know the difference. You know what I mean? I was super impressed. My wife didn't even want to put it out. She just wanted to let the whole thing burn. I'm like, well, at some point we can't stay in the office for 20 hours, like 50, whatever it is. We got to put it out at some point, right? We'll get back to it. We'll let it burn for a couple weeks. But it smelled really, really good. I'm super impressed. So again, if you want your house to smell good, it's almost spring. It's almost time to open the windows and get some fresh air in there. You might as well have some Alley Rose Fragrances candles going in your house as well. So again, please visit our sponsor, allyrosefragrances.com, and use our code InsideEdge20 at checkout for 20% off your entire order. And I'll leave that up during the break. We are going to take a break. 5 minutes here on the we will be back with more illegal formation in just a moment. So give us about 5 minutes. We'll be right back. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk Browns. Listen, the Browns, like I said, comings and goings. We've got a brand new coaching staff. We're losing probably at least, a lot of this offensive line. Maybe a historical number of offensive linemen, TK. So again, we'll be back in 5 minutes here on the Inside Edge Network. Give us just a moment. All right, gotta love the accidental double click. All right, welcome back to Illegal Formation. Again, please, you know, uh, while you're watching after the show, whatever, please just visit our sponsor, AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Use our code InsideEdge20 at checkout for 20% off your order. And remember, candles, it's a small business. They're homemade right here in the U.S. in Charlotte, North Carolina. They hand poured, all natural ingredients, vegan ingredients, cruelty free, just everything you want in the company. So, also, congratulations! Recently, Alley Rose Fragrances just hit 1 year of business. That's a huge landmark for small business. TK, that's enormous. So, congratulations on that. That's awesome. So, please, 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 if you enjoy watching us, remember to help out our sponsor. We appreciate it, and I know that you appreciate it. So, well, one thing I don't appreciate is Brown's bad news. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could look at this as good news because TK, there was a significant portion of this team last year that just wasn't very good, and we are looking at maybe an historic situation with that portion of the team. The Browns could become the first team since 1970 to lose their entire starting offensive line via free agency, or just the first team since 70 to lose their entire starting offensive line. But this entire O-line is looking to hit free agency. You've got Cam Robinson, Joel Bitonio, Ethan Poach, Wyatt Teller, Jack Conklin. Well, you know the story. You know who they are. DeJuan Jones may come back. Well, you can't really list DeJuan Jones as a starter from last year. He was injured so early that, obviously he was out, and it's unfortunate. We don't know what DeJuan Jones is going to do coming off of that injury. We don't know, what his future looks like. But as far as the starting five that the Browns rolled with for most of the season, they're probably all gone. You're looking at replacing an entire offensive line. And TK, just on a personal note, I saw this tweet from it's from Dove Kleeman. I'm not sure. Anyway, and below the tweet there was just a picture of Andrew Berry just cheesing right in the article, and for some reason it made me irrationally angry. Like it made it seem like Berry was happy about this, right? When this could have been avoided. They could have addressed this issue at some point last year in the draft. Instead of taking 2 quarterbacks and 2 running backs, they could have taken a quarterback, a running back, and 2 offensive linemen, and at least had something waiting in the wings, without having to go out and completely retool an offensive line in 1 year via the draft, free agency, trades, whatever it's going to be. They're going to have to get pretty creative. First of all, the first team since 1970 to do it. I can't imagine that's because it works out very well, right? I can't imagine wholesale changes on the entire offensive line can't make you feel comfortable going into next season, especially with inexperience at quarterback and man, it feels like the offense is a little bit of a mess. I know Todd Monken is known for tailoring a system to what he has on the roster, but if you don't have an offensive line, what the heck do you do? I mean, what are the Browns going to do, TK?
Browns are going to go 1-16 if they don't fix this damn offensive line in time. That's what the hell's going to happen. I mean, you're talking about Cam Robinson, Joel Bitonio, Ethan Postage, Wyatt Teller, and Jackie Conklin are all going to be gone this upcoming season. And granted, I don't really think anyone is too sad to see Cameron Robinson go. I mean, this was a guy that was appointed to be a franchise left tackle for 2 different franchises, and was absolutely smelly, rank dog shit the entire time that he was here in Cleveland. So nobody's really sad to see him go. Ethan Postage has lost some of his snap. Wyatt Teller is not the same Pro Bowl guy that he once was in 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
Jackie Conklin, much like DeJuan Jones, with the season-ending injuries. I mean, Cat tore his ACL week 1. So yeah, you definitely got to move on from that salary as well. Joe Bitonio is still somewhat of a mystery. I do realize that I put a retirement farewell post on my Facebook page not too long ago. I do still believe that is going to be the consistency, but I will admit that I jumped the gun there. It's still very much up in the air. You think, towards the end of the season, if you were to ask yourself, what are the percentages of Joe Bitonio coming back and being a Brown? you probably say anywhere between 5 to 15%. I think now it's kind of a 50-50 thing, especially with the June 1st post-cut details coming to light. Me personally, I definitely think he walks away. Last year was rough watching him play. He wasn't god awful, but being the saving grace of the 2014 draft that he was for us, it was definitely a sheer decline in production. He was not that same guy. I mean, that guy was playing hurt every week. He's got the big honking elbow brace on. He's got an ace wrap underneath it. He's got the knee braces on. His son was beat up. 75 was beat to absolute shit. And he still wanted to show up for this football team. Listen, man, 75, I know you're not watching this, but if by some weird ass coincidence that you are, thank you for your services. Point blank, period. I do appreciate you coming back for one final year. I really do hate that you had to sit your ass through 5 and 12 while being in all that pain, while being away from your beloved wife and kids. To deal with some old Cleveland Browns ass stank. That's exactly what he had to sit through, and I do apologize for that. But this is going to be
8-26 at 8-26 over 2 years.
Listen, man, it's really terrible. But you're going to have the daunting task of rebuilding an entire offensive line, and I just can't help but to think. I just got a feeling. I just got this itch that we're going to make a terrible free agent signing coming up soon. And it's going to be delegated to the offensive line, and I'm not happy about it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the offensive line is it's a tough guys to gel and have any continuity anyway. It's hard to bring in 2 new offensive linemen and get that continuity that you need across the board to keep your quarterback upright and have a chance at a running game in the NFL. Bringing in 5 new guys is going to be listen, to me it sounds like a nightmare. I get it. You get the right coaches in, you can get guys on the same page pretty quickly, especially if they've played in a system, whatever. They're used to the way the Browns do things, but you still got you got 5 brand new guys. They're learning all new terminology. They're learning, they're making reads on the fly. It makes me nervous, but I don't know. I mean, should it make me nervous? It's not like no one's expecting, or no one should be expecting 10, 12 wins this coming year. So in that regard, I think the Browns have some time. But man, let them get off to an 0-3 start, and people are going to be wanting Todd Monken's job, TK. I mean, he's in a tough spot,
No, yeah, I'm worried about that one too. You got to think there's a lot that's going to go on offensive line coach George Warhop's plate this year.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you think he did the best that he could with the offensive line that he had last year. Yeah, I understand you still have Ronnie Stanley at that left tackle position. Tyler Lindenbaum was an outstanding center. And Roger Rosengarten, for what it's worth, is one of the better right tackles in the NFL. Still has a lot of improving to do, room for improvement. I definitely think the guard situation in Baltimore was definitely questionable with suspect play from both Daniel Falele and Andrew Voorhees. So, and you're thinking about this and you're like, well, okay, you had 3 out of 5 certainties with the offensive line in Baltimore, not to mention that you have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in your backfield. Right. So yeah, that's gonna masquerade a lot.
Yeah.
Having to replace all 5 guys with Shedeur Sanders and Quinshon Judkins. I think the only certainty out of those guys right now, as much as I hate to say it, is Quinshon Judkins. And even with him, you still got to worry, okay, he tore the ACL and broke the fibula. So what, how long is this recovery going to be? Right. No one has mentioned anything about his rehab. Granted, it's only been a couple months.
Yeah.
But you haven't really heard too much out of his rehab. that's probably a good thing if you don't hear anything, but also, it's gonna leave a lot of speculation to float around in the later days. But we'll get to that
Yeah.
soon.
TK, this is the time where I missed the Nick Chubb squatting 675-pound video, right? Like, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, Nick Chubb's ready. He's going to come in. I don't expect Quinshon Judkins to be out here squatting, nearly 700 pounds. But you get the updates from Nick Chubb, right? You know what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to tell what. Yeah, like you said, it's hard to know what Judkins is going through.
Right. Yeah. But you got to think it's only February 21st. It is kind of early. We still got some time. Free agency hasn't even started yet. So,
sure.
Still just now finishing up, filling out the coaching staff, which I think is a pretty solid, albeit unproven coaching staff. I do like some of the guys that we brought in here. The special teams coordinator, Byron Storr, was a longtime assistant for the Green Bay Packers. We all know how decent the Green Bay Packers or special teams unit has been, especially with guys like Keyshawn Nixon as their kick returner. He had a wonderful year as their number one corner this year, so I think they're going to probably take him off that and try to look for different options. But
better kick returns can help this offense, right?
I would love that. I would love that. You got to think, man. We haven't had a great kick returner since Josh Cribbs. I mean, it's been more than long enough. Hopefully Storr can find a guy that can make that come true.
Well, like you said, when he was in Green Bay, I mean, they led the league with 20. I'm looking at the 28 kickoff returns of 30-plus yards, 22 to 24. So, again, it's those little things. If you can pick up a couple inches here and there, a couple yards here and there, football's a funny game, man. Like you start to flip the field a little bit, and things can start going better. I mean, it's like you start a drive on your own 17. You're behind the 8 ball immediately, right? And it feels like you got the weight of the field on you. You can't really open up the playbook, but you start on the 30, the 35. All of a sudden now, you've got some more options. You can use every page of that playbook a little bit, and we'll see what that Todd Monken playbook looks like. But yeah, I'm excited for Storr. I think a lot of people are just maybe happy, and I don't know if it's fair or not, but just maybe they're happy to see Bubba Ventrone go. We talked about, I was surprised that the Rams snapped him up. I mean, just with the Browns' track record of special teams mistakes and just all the stuff that went on with the Browns special teams over the last couple of years, all the little is where you would have expected them to improve the same mistakes over and over again. The Rams and I don't know, McVay must see something in him that we didn't quite. We just weren't able to get it out of him here. Maybe it's a roster thing. I don't know. But yeah,
I honestly think. Sorry to cut you off there, Chad. But to be quite honest, I honestly think that granted, this is no different than any other offseason in the NFL since the Cleveland Browns have been back since 1999. But I definitely think this is a highlight throughout the offseason, simply stating that this is all Cleveland's damn fault. You think of the overhaul of former Cleveland coaches that went to Atlanta, and especially with how quickly it was done, and you're thinking, everybody's going back. Kevin Stefanski's the head coach. Alex Van Pelt is going to be the quarterback's coach, I believe. Tommy Reese is the OC. Bill Callahan is going to be the offensive line coach. Yeah. And now, of course, you're hearing, Raymond Ventrone going to the Los Angeles Rams. This is just another offseason on which the NFL is choosing to highlight that this is Cleveland's damn fault, and we should continue to laugh at them and point at them as they go through their shame publicly, because at this point it makes absolutely no damn sense. So yeah, I definitely think this is what this came down to. Granted, before Bubba Ventrone came to Cleveland, he was one of the better special teams coordinators in the NFL. You think of that Indianapolis unit. They had guys like Isaiah Rodgers returning kicks. And I think he was close to making an all-pro team. If he didn't make an all-pro team, I'm not really sure about that. But he was definitely a big part of that. Rigoberto Sanchez is one of the better punters in the NFL. He took on kickoff duties for a majority of the time while he was there. So, I definitely thought there were some things to look at and be, excited about when we got Raymond Ventrone. And, plus, like I was talking to you earlier, you and I are like a couple of the 14 people that actually remembered when he played with the Cleveland Browns. So, that was another reason to get us excited as well. But I just think this is another off season to, basically highlight how screwed of an organization, and take some time to take a few shots at the city as well. So, that could just be me, but that's how I feel like it's coming.
I don't think it's just you. I mean, a lot of this it's self-inflicted. They can't really seem to get out of their own way. TK, they've had a problem with this since 1999, and it quite honestly, it hasn't been. I know the Haslams have been questionable as far as decisions go from owners, but it hasn't just been under the Haslams. I mean, they struggled. It's been a thing since they came back. It's been too long. It's been 27 seasons now. It's going on too long. So let's talk about offensive coordinator Travis Switzer. I mean, another guy that came over from Baltimore, another Monken guy. Listen, I have no problem. You let the coach hire his staff. Let him bring in guys who are familiar. I think that lets you kind of get ahead of the game a little bit as opposed to being forced to work with a staff that you don't know. I think you hit the ground running a little bit faster when you know guys, right? You can get on the same page faster. There's already that built-in communication. They probably already have a group text. They don't even have to get phone numbers, right? You just hit the ground and you go. But does it concern you? And we can talk about Mike Rutenberg as well, who I swear, my brain wants to call him Gutenberg. I have got to stop doing that. But Mike Rutenberg, Travis Switzer, they're both in the same situation. And I mean, I'm scrolling down through. I mean, for that matter, so is Byron Storer. All three of them have no experience in coordinator roles in the NFL. None. Does that concern you with Switzer? Does it concern you with Rutenberg? I mean, we talked a little bit about Storer. Storer has been a special teams coach, but not the coordinator, right? Like, does that concern you with a team that needs to we listen, man, we all want them to rebuild quickly. But again, I think we need to temper our expectations. We're not going to expecting them to win 10, 12, 13 games, right? We don't expect that. That's not realistic. So on one side of it, you've got guys that can learn on the fly. But that hasn't always gone well here, TK. And Browns fans are so impatient, and I don't blame them. I don't blame anyone for being impatient with this franchise. That, like I said, 1-3, 1-4, whatever. When they get off to a start where it looks like it's obvious that they're not going to compete for a playoff spot, people are going to be tired of this already, right? I mean, does that concern you?
Yeah, it's definitely cause for some concern. Would I push the full-on panic button? However, no, I would not. These new coordinators have all been a part of either championship contention or building towards playoff success. Real quick, I want to get on the defensive coordinator that we got, the former defensive pass game coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, Mike Rutenberg. Now, this is a guy that had a very underrated defense in Atlanta. You think about that secondary for sure. Obviously, having guys like A.J. Terrell and Jesse Bates III make a world of a difference. And you just said the magic word. Xavier Watts was absolutely unbelievable for them at that strong safety position. Had 5 interceptions this year as their starting strong safety. They had another rookie safety behind him in Billy Bowman, who can actually play pretty well too. Didn't get the massive snaps that Watts got, but definitely played all around the field. Played a little bit of slot, played some of that safety linebacker hybrid a little bit too. And when you have guys like that in your fold, it definitely makes things easier. But the big thing that I wanted to get at is these guys have dealt with high-end talent in high-pressure situations before, and it proved to be successful more times than not. Now, I know that can be misconstrued a little bit, especially with Rutenberg coming from the Atlanta Falcons with his past 2 seasons of being with that organization, having them go 16-18. So, obviously not a good success story there. But obviously with Storer and the Green Bay Packers, they've been one of the better teams, not just in the NFC North, but in the NFL as well, consistently making the playoffs. And obviously with the Ravens, they're always in contention for, at the very least, playoff position. Granted, they didn't make it this year. Last season, they were just in the AFC Championship game. So, things can obviously change, but I do believe in these three men to come in and be the best coordinators for our staff. You guys have coached high-end talent before. You guys know what it takes. You've been in high-pressure situations before. You've been successful. This is no different, other than the fact that your ass is in Cleveland now. So,
yeah, good luck.
Got to make sure that Cleveland stank don't get all the way on. So,
yeah.
That's work with that.
Yeah, you got to wear a lot of protective layers. That's the reason for layers. It's not really warm. I think with Rutenberg, I think it was a good pick. Just scheme wise, I think he walks into a defense that's pretty much used to operating the way that all the defenses that he's worked with really in the past, or at least recently. So I think it's not going to be seamless going from Jim Schwartz to Rutenberg. We get that. That's fine. But maybe Rutenberg can, add a couple of wrinkles here and there that, maybe Schwartz did. I don't know. You hate to lose Schwartz, but the way that it went down, I think it's better for everybody that he's gone. Unfortunately, it is what it is. It's where we are now. I'm not going to speak ill of the man. He's certainly capable and allowed to handle things the way that he is, the way that he sees fit. Right. Whatever. It's just the way it went down. It's the situation we're in. So, no sense rehashing it. But yeah, Mike Rutenberg's the guy. So. We'll see, right? We'll see. That you mentioned that Falcons Cleveland stat. It's like Berea South down there now. We'll see how that goes as well. Is it going to be frustrating? And I think I know the answer to this, but I think you have to be realistic. Is it going to be frustrating if Kevin Stefanski and this whole Browns coaching staff that's now down in Atlanta, if they get off to a 4-1, 5-2 start, and the Browns are sitting at 2-5? Do you think there's going to be the obvious comparison, even though rosters are not the same, right? Do you think that's going to cause any extra frustration if that happens? I mean, I can see that happening. That's a realistic possibility.
Yeah, I definitely see, the fan base becoming frustrated. And to be quite honest, I want Browns fans to really think about this. You think of when he first came in 2020, we weren't really sure exactly what was going to happen. We didn't really know much of this guy, other than the fact that he had been the coordinator for the Vikings for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Case Keenum had a magical year. What was it, in 2018, I believe, 2017, something like that.
Yeah.
And he was closely connected to Gary Kubiak. Other than that, we really didn't know much about him. But very first year as a head coach, we went 11-5, won a playoff game. Obviously losing in the division to the Kansas City Chiefs. I really think there is a possibility that this Atlanta Falcons team can be pretty good next year.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, and I know Browns fans don't want to hear that, but it's like, you know what? Listen, if you can get, and I've been adamant on this before, and I'm telling you, Arthur. The first moment he started saying that I ain't got my quarterback shit, you get his ass up out of here. I don't give a damn what Matt got to say about nothing. As soon as he start with that quarterback crap, you get his ass gone.
He's got all the quarterbacks down there, man.
Yeah. And they're thinking about releasing Kirk Cousins, which I wouldn't do just yet. But you think if you get that quarterback position figured out, listen, have a brilliant offense as it is. We've already talked about how good the defense is. Yeah. That's going to keep you afloat every game. Yeah. The offense is built to win. Bijan Robinson, you give him one more season, he's going to take over the NFL. He's going to take over the NFL. He was that damn good last year. I really didn't think, you've seen him do the Scorpion, when he was still at the University of Texas. It looked so bad. I did not think he was going to. I really didn't think he was going to bounce back from that.
Yeah.
Proves me wrong. I mean, this guy is box office beyond belief. And obviously you have brilliant pass catchers and guys like Drake London and Kyle Pitts, who had by far the best year of his career. 88 receptions, 5 touchdowns. Of course, you think about the big 166-yard, 3-touchdown game that he had against the Buccaneers late this season. The Falcons got to do everything they can to reel him back in the boat, because if they don't, I know San Francisco is salivating to get somebody to replace the absence of what will be George Kittle next season, because I don't see him playing much, if at all, next season.
Yeah.
And you got to think the Tennessee Titans are going to be in play for a big play receiver as well, tight end or wide receiver. They want to give Cam Ward the shiniest toy chest humanly possible, because they know he's going to make some noise with that, with whatever he has.
Yeah.
So it's a big possibility that the Atlanta Falcons take back the division. I mean, look, you had 3, 8, and 9 teams in the division last year, and the Carolina Panthers won that division by sheer luck. When you lose the final game of the season and somehow still end up hosting a playoff game, that was the luckiest gist in the world, and I know they know that. But
Right.
there is a big chance that the Atlanta Falcons can win the NFC South. Possibly, 10, 11, 12 wins, maybe. There's a possibility. They have a very good team. I mean, may not be, a Super Bowl roster, but when you take a good look at it, hey, man, how far are they off, really? I would say not that far.
Any chance our old friend David Njoku ends up in that NFC South? You mentioned a couple of teams that need tight ends. I mean, is there a chance he goes down to Atlanta with Kevin Stefanski, or maybe ends up in with Cam Ward? It seems like 2 places he could go. I'm not really sure what I don't know what the market is for him right now, to be honest with you.
Well, there's definitely a possibility that he could want to, go down to the dirty South and be with Kevin Stefanski and probably rule his offense, especially if they don't bring back Kyle Pitts. If they don't bring back Kyle Pitts, I definitely see David Njoku as the cheaper alternative option.
Yeah.
You think Pitts, after the season he had, he's going to garner at least $17 million a year AAV. He's going to have an AAV of $17 million. Or north of that. I think the absolute least you could possibly see him taking, maybe to go to a contending team, probably 12 or 13 million AAV. In Njoku, I don't think his AAV is anything over 10 million.
That makes sense.
Especially with the lack of production after the Pro Bowl season that he had in 2023. 2024 wasn't too bad, battled with injuries. 2025 was a slew of injuries, only had 293 yards.
Yeah.
So, for me, if I'm David, I'm going to go to San Francisco. I know for a fact that I have a solid quarterback in place. I'm going to be on a great team, and I have one of the 5 best head coaches in the NFL who is going to put me in great situations in his sleep, even if he's sleepwalking, in Kyle Shanahan. So, I think if I
system and a good security blanket with Christian McCaffrey as well, and a backup quarterback that can get the job done. So
exactly. So yeah, if I'm Njoku, I'm definitely looking at the 49ers. Again, we talked about the Titans possibly needing big play guys.
Yeah.
They have Chigakonku, who had a solid season last year. I do think they'll bring him back, but then again, you never really know for sure. I definitely think they want to get even younger at their playmaker position. So, that may be out of the question. You think of another team.
Yeah.
You think of another team that could probably use a tight end. The Buffalo Bills may be considering moving on from Dawson Knox just a couple of years after giving him a $52 million deal.
Okay.
The Denver Broncos could be in the market as well. Evan Ingram is solid, but not necessarily the 119 catch guy that he was a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah.
So there are a number of places that I think he could go, but I would keep Atlanta on the radar.
Josh Allen to David Njoku could be must-see TV. That could be a fun thing to watch. And that could help get the Bills over that hump. I mean, to have a safety valve, a reliable safety valve, if Njoku can stay healthy, and if his hands don't go away, he's got stretches of games where his hands just disappear. And and maybe that's the injury thing. Maybe that's the injury concern. Maybe it's some of the cold weather, which I guess you're going to have in Buffalo as well. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. One real quick question. I have one more question before we get out of here because I can't believe we've been doing this for an hour. An hour flies by when you're talking sports, man.
Tell me about it.
If you said Falcons may release Kirk Cousins, in the cards, it could happen. Any interest from the Browns in Cousins at all? if the Falcons do this, and I know it almost feels like a Joe Flacco situation from last year. You bring in him, you bring in Kenny Pickett, you have a competition that never really comes to fruition, and you leave training camp with no quarterbacks as opposed to but it felt weird. So it kind of feels like no. I think my answer would be no. What do you think? Any interest in Kirk Cousins or not right now?
Well, you shouldn't have any interest in anything you don't have any damn money for. That's what my mother used to tell me all the time. You shouldn't really have too much interest. You ain't got no damn money for it.
Live within your means.
And you already got to figure out how to maneuver the books for this season already.
Yeah.
I hope they don't restructure the contract for a fifth damn time. Please don't do it. Just pay this man and get this over with. You got Denzel Ward, who's popping up in the rumors as a cap casualty because his cap hit is at $33 million this year.
Yeah.
Granted, Denzel Ward, I still think is a top 10 corner.
Yeah.
I think some of that glitter kind of fell off of him last year. There were multiple moments where I'm just looking and I'm just like, he's not that elite guy anymore. I definitely think the game against, Minnesota Vikings, down the stretch, it looked bad, man. Justin Jefferson was doing whatever the hell he wanted during that one drive, made a terrific catch on him, which was like, it just gave you that feeling, here we go. And then, of course, with 25 seconds left, he nonchalantly, I think it was a mistake, but nonchalantly gives up the game-winning touchdown to Jordan Addison. And I'm looking and I'm like, oh boy, he might not be top 5 anymore, but I do still think he's top 10. Our defense is better with him there. I don't think you get most of the overall production from the defense without a guy like Denzel Ward, but a $33 million cap hit is crazy. That is crazy, and he's not the best corner in the game. At one point, he was close to that. I think he's starting to drift a little bit further away from that. He's going to be 29 in April. Like I said, that cap hit is crazy. Expect Andrew Berry to try to restructure that, possibly get him to 20 million or as close to under 20 million as he possibly can without Denzel wanting to force his way out, which I don't blame him. But at the same time, you got to think, man. You got to think we were 5-12 last year.
Yeah.
This past year in particular, to his standards, really wasn't all that great. I think this is the first year of his NFL career in which he didn't have more than 10 pass breakups, which I found shocking.
Yeah.
So, lot to think about, especially concerning those books. You got to get those straightened up. Right now, I believe we are 13 million in the red right now, which is a surprise. I thought we would be well over 40 million in the red, especially who on the roster. So,
which wouldn't be good for a team that needs 5 new offensive linemen. But I don't know that you can. I don't know that you can. That's a luxury signing, right? Kirk Cousins would be a luxury. You can't. You're not in that position. I mean, I think you're in a guy. You're in a position. Yeah, you got to either draft a guy. If you're going to bring in a quarterback, you're going to have to draft him, or you're going to have to get him in a pretty, pretty aggressive trade where you're not giving up too much. And I just don't see them bringing in a guy who's going to be better than what they have on the roster. If anything, it would be for depth. I don't know what kind of depth you have with a guy who hasn't really played in 4 seasons. And Dylan Gabriel. I mean, if you're going into the season assuming that Shedeur Sanders is going to be the starter, I would imagine the Browns are going to open up a competition and at least do that. But assuming that Sanders will be the starter, I don't know. I mean, the depth behind him would have to terrify you a little bit. So whatever, that's where we are. TK, man, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Not much on my mind today. Other than the Brown stuff that we talked about.
Yeah.
Obviously, what is this offensive line going to look like? What is free agency going to look like for us? What is the draft going to look like for us? Ryan made a good point on the Sunday Sports Show not too long ago that we very well may need to draft 5 offensive linemen. And, after seeing that news that we could possibly be for the first team in 56 damn years to lose their entire starting offensive line to the likes of free agency, this is wild. So, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. You're thinking, you look at the guys that we have on the roster right now. Right now you're looking at KT Levison and DeJuan Jones as your tackles.
Yeah.
Luke Weifler is going to be your starting center. Zach Zenter and I think Kingsley Ekubon are going to be your guards. Now, the folks out there that are watching the show, tell me how many of those players that you actually know, and we can have a discussion from there. It's a lot in the air right now. You don't necessarily have money right now. You have to find ways to make new money appear, and then you have to go about it strategically on how you're going to spend it. Of course, I see a lot of folks linking us to Rasheed Walker. Listen, man, we are not in a space to give an average tackle an AAV of 20 million plus.
No.
We're just not there. Maybe I'm just taking this with a grain of salt because I've seen how terrible he was trying to block Myles Garrett, even though he only had 1 sack that particular game. Right. It looked like a scene from Jurassic Park when Myles Garrett beat him to the inside and went down to hunt Jordan Love. It was bad. Do I think he's a horrible offensive tackle? Do I think he's a horrible tackle? Absolutely not. He's one of the better tackles in the NFL, but I still do not believe that he's worth an AAV of 20 million plus. The Tennessee Titans did the same thing with Dan Moore last year, giving him a 4-year, $82 million extension. And I'm sitting here thinking, what other franchise would have gave him that deal? And the answer is none. Not an insult to him. Another solid, decent player. But when I think of 20 million AAV, I can't have some average guy making 20 million AAV. I understand the consistency is this is the NFL. None of these cats are truly average because, this is the best of the best in the entire universe. I get that much, but at the same time, it's like,
relatively speaking, they're average. I mean, it's
when it comes to other teams' best. So, there are obviously other options. Jonah Williams is going to get a little bit of buzz. I don't think Arizona is going to retain him. Okay. You got to think Braxton Jones. The Chicago Bears, he had an injury-riddled 2025. Maybe he comes back healthy next year.
You mean the Indiana Bears?
You know what? That was the dumbest thing I heard this week, and I cannot believe that. Like, I get it; it's right on the edge, but at the same time, it's like, bro,
can't do it.
You're really gonna move the Bears to Indiana?
Can't do
really? It's been 100+ years in Chicago, and now you're gonna move them to Indiana. Like, people are going to call them the Indiana Bears.
Yeah, you can't do that. Can't do that.
Come on now. But anyway, it's like, there are a number of options you can go. Jed Wills took the entire 2025 season off for business reasons, business reasons or health reasons, whatever the case may be. You may want to kick the tires up on him. This is really going to be, how could I put this? This is going to be a what are you going to do season.
Yeah.
This is basically the main question that is going to be asked throughout the entire 2026 season. What you gonna do?
Fair.
And you may not have that many options, but
I think if you go out and get Jed Wills, I wouldn't specifically go out and make it a priority to go out and get him. But if you end up with him, I've said it 1,000 times. I think you either have to move him back to the right side at tackle, you move him inside. You've got to try something different. He is not a left tackle. That's okay. That's not a knock. Not at all. It's just it hasn't worked. He's not a left tackle in the NFL, and that's fine. I guess my parting thought is, I keep saying it, just Browns fans, be patient. Just it's not – it probably won't start pretty. And that – I don't even mean the season. I mean the draft, right? Like it's going to – like you said, TK, we may take a lot of offensive linemen in this draft. A lot. And go out and get the wide receiver. Everybody wants to go out and get a quarterback. Everybody wants to go out and have the top 3 pick in the draft or whatever and get a guy that's going to come in right away and be the guy. But nobody can be the guy if they can't stay on their feet. And if you can't keep your quarterback clean and you can't keep him upright, I don't know what the offense is ever going to look like. So we're going to have to – you got to lay the groundwork. You got to do all the grunt work. You got to put the work in, right? To eventually get to the point where it pays off. And it may not pay off this season. It may not pay off next season. Try to be patient. I know it's tough. I know it's we're not a patient city. That's not a knock on anybody in Cleveland. That's not a knock on Browns fans. It's hard to be patient with this franchise because they haven't shown the track record to be able to move in the right direction quickly enough to really, quite honestly, earn your patience. But we've got a new coaching staff, same front office, same owners. So, could be the definition of insanity here. We could really just be doing the same thing, expecting different results, but at least there's new guys to, listen to at press conferences and blame it on. That's all I got. Hey, listen, thanks for watching. This is another episode of Illegal Formation. Tomorrow, Ryan and TK and I will be back with you Sunday morning, right, at 11 with the Sunday Sports Show. We've got all kinds of stuff coming up today. I believe Real Talk with Papa Moon will be airing later today. Don't miss that. We've got prime time coming back next Monday through Thursday. Eli and I will be back with you. You got Anthony Alford coming with Midnight Run, right? Sports at an unhinged hour of midnight, the unhinged hour of midnight. And most importantly, don't forget to visit our sponsor. Visit AlleyRoseFragrances.com and use our code InsideEdge20, capital I, capital E, all one word, InsideEdge20. Make sure you type that in at checkout. That's going to ask you for a promo code when you go to checkout. Type that in there and save yourself 20% on your entire order and make your house and make your life smell good. So thank you to Alley Rose Fragrances for sponsoring us, for sponsoring the Intelligence Network, and thank you to LPV Productions. We quite frankly probably wouldn't be here without them right now. So, and thank you to you. Thank you to you that are watching us again. StreamYard seems to be having some connection issues with X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. So if you normally watch us on Twitter and you're having any kind of trouble finding us, if you find that it's weird, looks different, maybe skip over to YouTube and also subscribe to us there so that you can be notified when we go live everywhere. So if you again, just subscribe to us on YouTube, click the notification bell. It'll let you know every time we go live. Stick with Twitter. You don't have to abandon Twitter. If you like X, you like Twitter, that's fine. Just for right now, until that little glitch gets fixed, it might be easier to find us on YouTube. And we're also, I think, going to work toward streaming to the Inside Edge Facebook account soon here. So we've got that going on as well. But anyway, thank you for being with us. Another edition of Illegal Formation. It's all set. It's in the books. An hour and a half, TK. It flies right by. You guys have a great weekend. Saturday, and we'll see you, TK and I and Ryan Mosser. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 11. Sunday Sports Show. Bye-bye, guys.